Join today as I talk about Stephen King's book, The Running Man. Is it any good? Is it like the movie from the 80s? Is it like the upcoming movie? Let's talk about all these things today, here on the Geek Cabal channel. This is the Geek Cabal channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Bobbie, and today we're talking about Stephen King's book, The Running Man. Now, originally he wrote this under the name Richard Bachman. I don't know enough about his background to know for sure why he wrote other stories wrote stories under other names, and I don't know if he had more than one pen name other than his own name. I mean, like the Richard Bachman alias. So if you see, it's attributed to Stephen King. If you see there below it, it says it was originally written as Richard Bachman. Now, my assumption is that it's because it's not a horror book, and his name by the time he wrote this was heavily associated with horror, and maybe wanted to know if it could stand on its own or something like that, or possibly also if there are people that didn't like his horror work, and so or didn't like horror in general, and he'd written several horror books and was like, well, I'll give this a shot because it's not like it's written by that Stephen King guy, and then lo and behold it is. I don't personally know. I've never read any interviews with him about it or anything. So, anyway, this was originally, a 1982 copyright, so I'm going to say it's probably when this was originally published. So meaning that both it and the currently available adaptation are both from the 80s. Now, you have to understand, as I'm recording this in like the first third of October 2025, there is a new adaptation about to be released in theaters here in a few weeks. It's the end of this month, beginning of next month, somewhere there. I don't remember the exact release date. But that is the reason I decided to read the book, because I could tell from the trailer that the new movie is not a remake of the movie from the 80s, that it's a new adaptation of the novel. So, I'm going to get to spoilers, but I am just going to toss this out there that, yes, this book is quite different from the movie from the 80s with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, I've done a video on that book, on that movie, and I enjoy it quite a bit. But there are definitely some differences. Now, some of the tones are the same, some aspects of the general concept, but I'll mention a few things in spoilers, but I intend on doing a separate video on how the two are different and all those kind of things. So, alright, so how is the book? I thought it was pretty good. I blew through it pretty quickly. It is 345 pages. The chapter structure is a little interesting. It has, let me start here at the beginning. You can see this. See where it says minus 100 and counting? Well, there's 100 of these little segments. Some of them are just a single page like that. Some of them are 2, 3, 4 pages. But they're all little sections counting down to 0, which is the finale of the book. And the actual finale of the book is, that's it. It's don't pause and read that if you don't want spoilers. It's literally 2 paragraphs. So some of these are very short, but is a very interesting style to the book. I've only read one of King's other books, and that was Salem's Lot. It was not written that way. It has like 3 segments, and one of which is significantly larger than the other 2. Don't know why it wasn't broken up. Also weird names, but for the segments. So I think it's well written, and it's very colorful in its descriptions. It doesn't leave a whole lot to the imagination, and I don't think there's any part where that's a bad thing. There is language that you might not expect, because again it was written in the 80s, and also it's the written word, and it's easier for some things to be written than to be spoken aloud in, say, a movie. There is language I expect would be changed in the movie version that's coming up. Part of me says I'd be surprised if the ending is kept, but I've seen the trailer and I'm pretty sure it's going to be. So, but also from the trailer, I can see some other parts that I think might be a little bit different. We'll see. And overall, aside from a few things at the end where I'm not 100% certain who's being honest about what, whenever we're only given Richard's interpretation of what he's being told, and I largely agree with the logic he's employing. Um, it's, I don't know. And if it's true, it's going to be a devastating moment in the movie. But, yeah, so overall, if you have seen the original movie, I think you would like this book. Now, again, there are some very dramatic differences. But overall, I enjoyed the book. Went through it, like I said, pretty quickly. So, I don't really rate the books when I review them here. I would just say I would recommend that you read it if you like the original movie. Like I said, it's not horror, so don't expect creatures. I mean, all the villains are human, and the horror, there is horror in it. It's a dystopian setting, and it's pretty bad. And it goes into some detail on that, not a ton, but it's there. And I mean, the '80s movie, is also a dystopian setting, so you can tell that it definitely started life as a script from the book, and then they began to make changes. So, anyway, overall, I recommend you check it out. I'm going to go into spoilers here in a moment. Down in the down in the description, there will be Amazon affiliate links if you would prefer to buy the book that way if you're interested in it. And I try to link to the paperbacks, hardcovers, all that stuff. And if you don't understand how that works, it does not change the price that you pay. It's essentially a commission to us if you buy any of them. But that's up to you. There's plenty of other ways to get it. I'm sure it's also available like at Barnes & Noble and any other bookstores you might happen to come across in this day and age. At least I would assume it is. This is a decently recent copy because all the stuff around the back is talking about King pretty recently. I think this version, let's see if I can find it printed. It's a 2018 edition, so. But yeah. Like I said, overall, pretty fast book. I enjoyed it. So, anyway, going to the spoiler section. So, you've been warned. Here we go. Okay, so the main character is Ben Richards. So, the '80s movie has the same character name. Now, in this, in the novel here, Ben Richards lives in an era where the government has definitely cracked down on a lot of things. There are definitely haves and have-nots. And the network has several shows that they run for the amusement of the masses where people are tortured in various ways up to killing, like you see in The Running Man. The Running Man is the premier show. It's the high-stakes one. And the way the game works is the contestant, who they're volunteer. The contestant has, if they have to remain free in the populace for 30 days. If they do, they win $1 billion. Every hour that they're free, they win a certain amount of money. I think it's $1,000. And they before they sign up, they tell them who they want the money to go to, because thus far no one has ever succeeded. So the money goes to their spouse or whoever. They know, like, Killian makes it very clear to Ben Richards that he will not make it. That the people who are watching the show, some of them, the upper class people, absolutely hate him. They want to watch him die because they hate him. Others because it's entertaining, but they want him gone. They hate people of his stature, and that's all there is to it. So they tell him all this, and they give him some walking around money. So that's a challenge, And he has a very screw you attitude towards all these people. He's smart enough to know how screwed he is, and he's doing all this because his daughter is sick, and his wife's only means of making money is as a prostitute, and he's tired of her having to do that. So he signs up, passes all the tests, and he's in. So he has, like I said, he gets some walk around money. They also give him a camera and film rolls and tell him where to mail them. Basically, just drop them in a mailbox and they'll get to them because the network is part of the government control of everything. So he has to film, I think it's 2 10-minute clips every day, so they have some footage to use whenever the show comes on at 6:30 at night. And they'll also incorporate any like chase footage or anything. He gets a bonus for every hunter that he kills or every police officer that he kills, and he takes several of them out towards the beginning when he blows up a building, or most of the building, the boiler in the building, something. And so he comes across various people who are not necessarily on his side, but are sympathetic to his cause. And it's where he figures out just how screwed everybody is. Because he comes across a fellow who's been reading books in the library, which he has a fake ID card and everything to get into because he's too little stature for that. And talks about like air pollution levels and everything, and how the filters that they sell to poor people don't work. And they're able to make actual filters that do work for far less than they charge for the ones that do work. And he knows all this because he's got his young sister who's dying of lung cancer, and she's not very old at all. And so, Richards gets him some money and stuff, and he's helping him. He helps him by mailing the tapes for Richards. Richards gets the tapes to him, and then they mail the tapes out. Because Richards is convinced that, despite what Killian said, that the tapes are tracking him somehow. They can figure out where they were mailed from and figure out Richards is probably there. He's probably right. And again, it's hard to tell what Killian's being honest about and what he's not. But Killian does give him gives him the speech of, I like you, Richards. Like, I think you're going to be entertaining. Like, you're going to die. Like, that's going to happen. It's like, but I like you. And so he gives him some advice. He's like, stick with your own people. Like, you'll stick out elsewhere. Your own people might actually be able to help you. You know them. You know how they think. They can help you. He's like, give us a good show. So that's his prevailing idea as the book progresses. And so he mails in the tapes and everything like he's supposed to do. And like I said, in 6 years, no one has ever won. Richards he doesn't even make it 2 weeks. And that's the most anyone's ever made it by the end of the book. And so he ends up taking out some more cops along the way. He's convinced he's going to get caught. He keeps trying to figure out where to sleep. Just all the, like, who he can trust. The guy that's helping with the tapes, he meets up with one of his friends who's heard the network that guy's on the run now because they know he helped Richards. Oh, also, anyone in the populace that sees Richards has a number to call, and if the tip turns out legit, they get like $500. And if it leads to Richards' death, I think it's $1,000, which that's big money at that point in time. So the general public has a reward system for trying to catch Richards. And then there are the hunters who are after him, who work directly for the network. And also the cops are after him too, but the network hunters are the guys that are supposed to know what they're doing. So he eventually takes a hostage and uses her. He's been shot at that point. And uses her to ultimately get a plane. And he claims that he has an explosive. Now, this being a kind of sci-fi future, it's supposed to be an explosive about like this that will basically produce a low-level nuclear blast. And so he's like, oh, you're bluffing. He's like, no, I'm not. Like, I've had plenty of time. Like, you can get this stuff on the streets. Like, you people don't understand how things work in the real world. Like, you're up here in your cushy penthouse, and it becomes very much as I don't even call it an undertone. It's right there. It's right there in front of your face, the haves versus have-nots. And so, like, the main hunter is there at the airport and is like, Richards, I know you're bluffing. Like, just end it now. It'd be painless. And he's like, no, you don't think I'm bluffing. Like, you're hoping I am, but you don't think I am, because here's the plane and it's fully fueled. So he gets on board the plane. Then he decides he wants that hunter and the woman he had taken hostage, because he let her go, to come on board the plane with him. And so they all get on the plane, take off, and he keeps having the pilot kind of fly around various places. They're on the East Coast. By the way, in typical Stephen King fashion, the airport is in Derry, Maine. So, Pennywise was somewhere in the sewers there waiting for them. But so they take off. It's a big jetliner. And he gets a call from Killian. And Killian's like, look, we think you're bluffing. Like, he tries to shit talk him, like, oh, there's detectors and everything. Like, they didn't detect any explosives. He's like, but I'm going to be able to offer you a deal. He's like, you've made it farther than anyone else. You put on a hell of a show. And you've proven that our main hunter is a gas bag. Like, we want you to take his place. Like, we'll have a little fake where it looks like we execute you, and then you'll take his place. And they're like, because think about it, Richard's like, you've proven that you know where to hide. You'll know how to find these people, and you know how to put on a show. Like, we need people like you. And finally, Richards is like, well, he's like, you can't. Like, no hunters have family. And Killian just very coldly is like, your wife and daughter are dead. They died 3 days ago. And he tells them, people came in and robbed the place and killed them, and his wife was stabbed repeatedly. And in Richard's mind, he's trying to process this, because he's like, well, Killian could be lying to me. This could all be a setup. And, Killian's still talking, and finally kind of comes back to it. And Killian's like, look, man, like, I'm not lying to you. Like, if it were up to me, we would have set it up like the other hunters. Like, we'd fake her death, put her somewhere. You'd have visitations here and there, and that's the way it would work. Like, we wouldn't kill her. Like, that'd be pointless, because no sane person's going to go to work for the people that killed his wife and kid. And so Richards ultimately decides Killian's probably telling the truth. But that's one of those moments in the book where, like, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. And tells him he needs time to think about it. So takes his time to think about it. Convinces himself, I could do this. Like, I don't have any attachments left. Killian's telling the truth. Like, it's a lot of money. Like, it's like society will, eventually they'll rise up. Like, I'm not going to change anything. Like, a couple thousand years, people will evolve so their lungs can deal with all this tar crap, and they'll, rise up against the people who've been using the filters all this time. And he's like really, really spinning his wheels, and finally just comes to grip, and he's like, no, I'm going to do something about it. So kills the pilots, then kills the hunter, gives the parachute that he asked for to the woman. She fires the bolts to blow the door open, sucks her out. Don't know if she survived or not. Hopefully she did. Then he goes to the cockpit, and they were already within a few miles of his home city, which is where the headquarters for the games is. And as he's bleeding out because he got shot in the gut, and he's literally spilling his guts out, he's able to make it to the cockpit and realign where the plane's going, and sets it on a collision course with the building. And that's the final chapter, is the plane hits the building and kaboom. That's it. The last thing, Killian gets one word out of his mouth as he turns to his floor-to-ceiling window where he normally has a view of the city, and all you can see is the giant jetliner taking up the entire view, with Richard smiling at him, giving him the finger. So, yeah. And judging from the trailer of the new movie, there's footage on board an airplane with a fight going on. I've got the feeling that's how the movie's actually going to end. So, it's a hell of an ending. I can see why they changed it for the other version. But, yeah. So, and that's the end of the book. Like, you have no idea if that spurred the masses on to rise up. There's a little bit of a hint that maybe, because as he's leaving, there's two of the cops standing there, and one of them asks the other one, like, do you hope he makes it? And the other one takes a long moment, and he's like, yeah, I do. And these are the guys that, like, are the enforcers for the system, and they're cheering him on, or at least one of them is. So, anyway, very dystopian, an everyone dies kind of ending. So, but colorful characters throughout. I anticipate enjoying the new movie. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely be a video about that when it comes out, and probably comparing the other two movies and the book and everything. So, anyway, that is The Running Man. Check it out. But that's all I've got. So let me know down in the comments if you read this one before. Do you like the Arnold movie from the 80s? Do you want to see the new movie coming out with, I think it's Glenn Powell, who I think really is just remaking all the movies from his childhood now. He was in Twisters, he was in the Top Gun sequel, there's something else he was in recently. But it seems to be working out for him. I think he's a decent actor, and at least he's made for these kind of parts anyway. So we'll see. But let me know down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sharing, commenting, help us grow the channel. Always appreciate it. Thank you, folks, who helped us get over 575 subscribers not too long ago, and we are almost at 600 at the moment. Literally couldn't do it without you guys. But yeah, that's all I've got on this one. So until the next book,